Friday, July 25th, coming up on an all-new View. The Tony-winning genie from the Broadway smash Aladdin, James Monroe Iglehart, is out of the bottle and in Hot Topics as our guest co-host. Plus, Kristen Chenoweth is telling you if she plans on returning to Broadway. And the Emmy-nominated star of Scandal, Joe Morton. Then, some are struggling to wait until marriage. Others are desperate to have sex now. And the stars of the new reality show, Virgin Territory, are telling all. It all starts now on The View.
Welcome to The View, y'all. Welcome to The View. So, all right, y'all had a little wine earlier, didn't you? No, we're thrilled that you're here, but even as thrilled as we are with you all, we are happy to say that our guest co-host is the Tony Award-winning star of Aladdin on Broadway, amazing, James Monroe Iglehart. What's happening? When I went to see this show, when I went backstage afterwards, I literally fell to my knees because this young man...
You did?
I did. Because what this young man does for the entire show, I mean, everyone is great in the show. Please don't misunderstand me. But this man puts the show on his shoulders, and he doesn't, like, kind of run, he vaults. He's on the ceiling, he's here, he's there, he's there, and it's non-stop. 8 shows a week. It's extraordinary.
You know, yeah, because 8 shows a week is very draining. So how do you, like what we said, do that every single day?
I love it. I love what I do. It is all I've ever wanted to do since I was 4 years old. Wow. Since the first solo at Palmacia Baptist Church in Hayward, that's all I've ever wanted to do was to be on stage. I heard the applause for first time, and I was like, that's it. That's all I want to do. Right. And finally, I found a wonderful project, Aladdin, where I was able to be as silly as I am at home and still be able to pay my rent. So, and when you don't understand, what you guys don't understand, I'll make this quick, I swear I'll make this quick. I'm a huge fan of all you guys, but this woman here is a hero to me.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in college, I had no money, so I had to rent everything, and your show, Whoopi Live, was on VHS. You probably don't even know what that is anymore. VHS, and I went and got it, and I watched it, and I studied it, absolutely studied it, and a friend of mine directed it as a one act, and I played Fontaine. And I swear, just when you came, and what you don't see, because it's a still, when she went on her knees, I boo-hooed like a little girl. It was over for me.
Well, so, it was, I mean, the great thing is that, you know, you see a lot of great performances on Broadway, but when you see one where you basically can say, damn.
Right.
That's, if I was a little kid, you know, because certain things make little kids want to get on stage. His performance, you must go see it. If you haven't seen it, you've got to go see it. Take the family. It is the greatest.
Well, you know, you also stole the show at the Tonys when you accepted your award for Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role. I want to show everybody what you did. Take a look.
And I know that this is supposed to be the most dignified, you know, award show of the season, but I have to do this. This is a praise shout. Hey!
That's the thank you, Jesus. I got this award.
I couldn't help myself. You know, don't want to offend anybody, but my mother told me to keep God first.
That's right.
And I have. And the fact that I'm here, I didn't know what I was going to say or do. And my wife said, you should prepare a speech. I'm like, I'm not going to win. I'm not preparing nothing.
But your body knew what to do. Yes. That's the thing. You can't contain it.
Because you're so happy. Yes. Because you're happy that you won a Tony when you went up on that stage. mean,
I was happy. I was.
Congratulations.
And Sherry, you kind of happy too. You were talking about a friend of yours who was getting chatted up by some dude, but she wasn't sure what kind of signal she was getting.
Yes, and I'm not being a really good friend because my girlfriend who's single, she met a pilot. We were at the airport yesterday, and a really cute guy, and he says to her, he said, "You look really good." And I'm going, okay. But then he looks at her shoes and he goes, "Are those Giuseppe's?" And she said, "Yeah." Then later on, he said, "You really look good." He gave her his phone number, and we're on the plane, and I'm like, "I think he likes you." And then she goes, "But is he gay? Is he not?" Because he knew the shoes. And it's like, because Giuseppe's and Nadi's, you got to know your shoes to know Giuseppe's. And I'm going, I don't know.
I've done more pilots than CBS, so I don't think you know what, if a guy's, I think today's day and age, guys do
Y'all get that tomorrow.
Whoopi's a Scorpio too, but you know, there's so many guys out today that know designer shoes. I mean, there's a plethora of men that have always stopped and goes, "Oh, those are Christian Louboutins." I'm like,
but the problem is today, it's like you're going through stuff. It might be insulting to say to a man right off the bat, "Are you gay?" Because you want to just weed out guys, or do you like, because
how funny is it that because a man appreciates a well-made shoe, we assume he's gay?
The fun part is, I love a woman in a high heel, so I will tell a woman, "I love your shoes." And I'm in musical theater, so I'm surrounded by gay guys, so I know who the shoes are.
it's with the designer. It's the red flag.
But then with the stuff that's going on, I mean, because she asked me, because I mean, this is a very valid.
Okay, he is married to a woman.
I am married to a woman.
But it's very valid because we are hearing stories was like, Kendra Wilkinson and her husband was, messing around with a transgender person. Is that the new question that you ask instead of what do you do? Do you like transgender people? Do you like gay people?
I think as long as they admire your shoes and they're not wearing your shoes, I think that's okay.
Yeah, I
Okay,
well, you never know. He might be asking you. He might be asking your friend. I should say. He might be asking your friend. Saying you look great and I like your shoes, because just in case they get together, he wants to know what to buy her next time they're around.
And
if he's smooth enough, he will come through with the right shoes.
Let us not assume that every fashion question points to a gay man. There are men with impeccable fashion taste, great taste, and they're out there, and they're straight. There are gay men also, but there are some gay men who couldn't give a poop about your shoes. There you go. How about this? Because your friend is not the only confused person about dating, apparently. Because dating has gotten, I guess, so informal that many women cannot figure out if they're on a romantic date or just hanging out with somebody. I don't know how that's possible, but why not just ask? Is that bad to do?
Guys don't want to. Guys are afraid to ask. Guys are afraid to ask because we're afraid to hear no.
Well, what about the woman? Can a woman ask?
A woman can ask. A woman can ask.
Like, I've gone out with, groups of friends before, and I've had guy friends, and then when one of them said, "Hey, you want to go out to dinner?" I was like, "Great," thinking it's a date. And then I find out, oh, it wasn't a date.
Can I tell
it's
you?
Sometimes confusing.
Before I got married last year, there was an actor that we used to text back and forth, and he used to always text me, and he'd go, "Hey, little feather," and first of all, I ain't a little feather, so right there, and I was like, okay. He'd always go, "I liked you in the purple today. I liked you when you said this," and then he said, "Do you want to go to dinner?" So I told all my girlfriends, I said, we've been texting back and forth at midnight. He says, "Do I want to go to dinner?" I got all dressed up, went to see him at his improv show. Why did he say, "Sherry, this is my girlfriend Sandy. We're all going to dinner"? I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, what am I, like a robot? What am I gonna do? Oh, what am I gonna do?"
I think I don't want to speak for all men, but I will say this: if a guy says, "Hey, we should go out. Let me take you out, Sherry. Let me take you out to dinner." And, I'd like it to be a first date. If he uses the word date, there you go.
But then if he doesn't use the word date.
They won't say first date, but they'll let you know. If it's a casual, if I say, "Ginny, let's go to dinner."
And a babysitter, it better be a date.
But if I take your hand.
Wait, what did you just say?
If I'm going to get my hair blow dried and I get a babysitter.
I can't even tell you what I heard.
But I'm saying, just right there, even if he didn't say first date, just the way James was like, "Hey, Sherry," I'm like, okay, you want to go on a date.
That is a date, but if I look at you and I go, besides, I think you talked about this on the show before, texting is so informal. You don't know what people are saying.
No.
You don't know how.
That's why I said, what is wrong with saying to somebody, "Hey, listen, we've been having such great talks. and you want me to go to dinner. Are we going on a date or are we just hanging?
So a woman should say that. Are we going on a date?
Whoever. I mean, because women ask men to go out, and you should be prepared to answer the question, because maybe you just want to hang with that person, because dating seems to mean many things to many different people. Nookie might be involved, maybe it's not going to be involved. Relationship, friendship is involved, maybe it's not. So just, I say ask. Yes, and I'm going to go right now, because I just asked, what should I do? They said, go, bitch, go. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Still ahead, find out why Kristen Chenoweth has audiences cheering from overseas to Oklahoma.
There's a new home test couples can take to see if they really have chemistry. They can take DNA and psychological tests, which they send in for analysis, and find out if they're a scientific match. Now, James, you've been married to your wife, Dawn, who's in our audience for 12 years. Is this a test you would have taken 12 years ago?
No, because my wife is a scientist, and she would have probably said, this means nothing.
What do you mean your wife's a scientist?
My wife is a scientist for a biotech company in California. So she's been working with DNA for as long as I've known her.
Does any merit, this test?
I mean, I would argue it depends on if you believe in nature versus nurture.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm kind of a believer in both, right?
I'm a big believer in pheromones. Like, I can tell that.
But you know, I think the only problem with that, Dawn, is if you let's say you do take this DNA test and you find out you're not compatible. That takes away a lot of what may have happened, because a lot of people aren't compatible, and then you find out, wow, your yin is my yang, and together we create something.
It's true.
And I'm a different person because I married him. So I was a different person 12 years ago than I am now. I'm a much better person because I'm married to that man.
But you know what? He has said publicly the same about you.
Yes.
And that is what, I mean, I hate marriage. Because for me, it does not work. But when I see it work for people, it's the most lovely. I love it. I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. The key is knowing if it's for you. And if it's for you, then you fight for it. You've taught me that.
But if you don't want to listen to me talking about fighting for it, that's the wrong person.
You do fight for it. You do fight for it.
Yes,
you do fight for it, because you can ask Dawn, I was afraid to get married because everybody in my family did it wrong.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, if we're going to do this, can we please do it right? Show me what do I need to say to you to make you stay here?
I said never, ever again would I ever get married, and I've learned never say never, and I'm going to be married in the next couple of months.
Like, I love marriage. I think marriage is great. I'm going to carry a prenup and a confidentiality agreement with me wherever I go.
Now you're going to carry a DNA test.
Are we compatible?
A school volunteer was recently fired when school officials discovered in his spare time he writes an erotic blog. He says it's a hobby and he likes to do it in his spare time. Should he have been let go for having this outside activity, which has nothing to do with the school? This is what he writes a blog, and what was the other blog he wrote?
It's a review for sex toys.
Yes.
There's also a few naked photos of him on the website.
He's got S&M. Now, okay, there you go. I think
now that's a problem.
If he's working,
that's an issue.
Well, even without the naked pictures, I think he's working for a school. If he's in a capacity where he is never around the children, that's one thing, because he's a volunteer. He's not teaching English class or anything. That's one thing. But if he is any time around children, I don't know if I'm necessarily comfortable that he's writing an erotic blog featuring S&M and sex toys.
If I'm interviewing a babysitter or a nanny, I'm going to look at what they're doing on the free time. I look up on their social media, what they're into.
Doesn't that go into their personal lives? So you're trying to say that you can't...
children.
Well, I understand that, but if it'd be different if his stories were about children, or if his S&M were about children.
Bleed.
Well, people are having sex and then going to work around kids.
So you're saying that if this man and his partner, whoever it is, this man and his partner, they enjoy, the S&M lifestyle. Right. You're trying to tell them they can't?
Yes, because it's different if you and your partner enjoying an S&M lifestyle in the privacy of your home. But when you blog it, that means you want people to read about it, and you want public to know about it.
Wait. So you know now Now, once you start that is an incredibly slippery slope. Tweeting then becomes an issue.
But that's why you look at their personal.
But if I'm a teacher, I don't want you telling me I can't tweet, I can't have my Twiter or my
people
Facebook.
Have gotten fired for that.
Yes,
for
but
the tweet.